Yeah, cameraman, just the first 5 minutes, I need my jacket back. Let's make sure the photos happen in the first 5 minutes, please. Okay, no, thank you, colleague. Yeah, no, thank you very much. Just quick announcements. I did get permission from the chairperson to share a few announcements. So on Friday, we have a webinar on data privacy. That invite will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Please do register, and then you'll be registered for the webinar. Secondly, as we've been talking throughout the 3-day or third day today, there's been a call for research, and I do have an instrument that I've built where you can use it to test whether or not you have the correct KPAs and KPIs and the necessary skills to satisfy those KPAs and KPIs. So if you'd like to collaborate on that project, you can email me at kmabe@uj.ac.za, but you can also drop that request in the WhatsApp group, and then a formal research group will be developed. And I am willing to run workshops on research methodology so that colleagues can be equipped with the necessary research skills for the project. And then we can co-author from there. Just that. Okay, so I did have co-authors, and I just want to just acknowledge them before I carry on. So there's 3 students who I identified in 2023 in their second year. So how I got to selecting them to be part of this research project is because of their capabilities. Obviously, they were top students. And then last year we started working on this article. And so, I'm advocating for them. If you need interns or junior workers, please do email me. You will not be disappointed. Ndatemulala said he sometimes regrets, the people he employs. I promise you, with these ones, their work ethic is outstanding. We would be up at 3 a.m. working on this paper because they have other things to do. So trust me on that one. If they disappoint you, you can call me directly. I will call him to order. So the topic is looking into the future of competitive intelligence. And as I stand here, I hope I'm looking into the eyes of that future. But I am here to sell this idea, and my academic colleagues, please, I will be veering slightly away from the traditional way we present academic papers. It's more a lecture or a workshop. I don't know what you want to call it. But again, that's because we are at not a normal conference, but at a special conference. Can I get an amen for that? Amen. Thank you. And then in terms of the point of questions, I've been strategic the past 2 days. I didn't ask anyone any questions strategic because the Lord said, do unto others. so do unto me as well. But anyway, in terms of context, so for the sake of time, I'll just show this all at the same time. So for the sake of context, how this study was motivated is because we always try to figure out how we can get KM to be one of the pillars, in an organization and not just a nice to have, right? And this conversation has been going on for the longest time. But we know that if we keep doing the same thing and expecting the same results, what do we call it? Insanity. So something has to change. And this is hence the proposal being made in this article. Okay? So first, when I was here on Monday, I did speak about the pyramid. So this is what the DIKW pyramid looks like. So data information. So if you look at the left here at the top, that's the traditional one. And then in 2020, though, Van Meter made an argument saying the logic applied to developing the first, sound better now. The original model is flawed because how we get to create knowledge doesn't happen in a linear fashion. So linear meaning we don't analyze data to create information, and then from there analyze information to create knowledge, and then from there analyze knowledge to create wisdom. This process happens in a non-linear way, meaning we can create everything, information, knowledge, and wisdom at the same time, as long as we have the data. And then where we come in as people, you can see that he's added a block saying life experiences and education. So we still are needed so that we can look at the data, because numbers can lie. One thing, I love sports very much. So when I'm watching a game, if you don't watch a game, say for example, I don't know if people watch basketball or anything, you watch it, you see the stat line, LeBron James scored 39 points, had 15 rebounds, 2 steals or whatever, you'd think he had a great game. But if you realize he took 100 shots to score 39, that's why his team lost. Now that's where the human side comes in, the analysis part comes in there. So now, again, I prefer working smart, not hard. So I developed this conceptual DIKW framework, literally took the one at the top and then adopted the two, which is where now I get the whole motivation for bringing in the CI aspect. So what we know now is that organizations are simply moving from data right to wisdom because of the advent of big data and AI. So if you look at the big data sign, you'll see that, okay, we take the data, we create insights from the big data and function right at the top of the pyramid. And now when you see the AI side, you see that what happens is AI can then generate data, it can generate information, it can generate knowledge, it can generate wisdom. And from wisdom, we can then develop, create more data. From knowledge, we can then develop more data. So if we think about our KM systems or our records management systems, the documents in there are now data points. That's essentially what I'm trying to say here. Okay. And now hence the motivation for, I'm going ahead of myself. I still need to explain what CI is for those who don't know. What CI is, I'll use a simple example of when we're in a car. So from a KM perspective, what that would look like is, I'm driving and then I have a passenger driver, a backseat driver, who's going to say, don't you see that the gas light is on? Let's go refill, because you're supporting my decision making. So by reminding me of this factor, you're telling me to go fill up. Don't you see that camera on the road? Slow down. Now you're reminding me that I shouldn't do certain things because you're supporting my decision making. From a CI perspective, what we're looking at is now the outside of the car. So what happens is, so maybe a driving lesson for some of us, when I'm driving, I don't look at the car right in front of me. I look at one or two cars after that car. Because if the car in front of them stops, I know this person is going to stop. So I react before they react. Makes sense. So that's what competitive intelligence is about. We look outside, bring in that knowledge for the sake of the conference to the inside, so we can then function according to how people outside are functioning. Are we happy with that explanation? So literally using KM processes, how we, you collect knowledge, you capture knowledge, you process it, you organize it. Literally the same principles we use, just looking at the data coming from outside. And that's why I think it's a possibility that we can jump into the space. Are we good? Sure. Okay, so again, for the academic process, again, I do have the formal headings, literature review, I've covered, so just for that sake, okay. But I've covered pretty much the explanation, and then big data. Okay, I've covered the explanation of knowledge management and CI. So I'll just get into what big data is. So I'll use the 5 characteristics. There are other people use 3, other people use 7. I prefer just using the 5. So the 5 characteristics of big data is that this is data that comes in huge volumes. So the amount is large. It comes in very fast because it's collected in real time. For example, for my watch, if I get a heart attack now, my doctor will be notified in real time. Okay, so it comes in speedily because of that. It's collected in real time. It comes in different forms. So we know data can be numbers, words, videos, audio. And then a fourth V is there's value. So out of that, we need to then collect value. We need to generate value from it. Hence the need, because it's so big, we need AI to analyze it. Because as the human brain, the data comes in too much quantity for us to be able to process ourselves. So we need these systems to help us analyze the data. Still good. Correct. Now, the last bullet here, you see that's KMCI. In 2010 already, Tang and Lee made an argument saying the lines between KM and CI are beginning to blur. And eventually, it's inevitable that the two will integrate. So they are supporting my argument now 15 years later because of the functions being so similar. And when it gets to the workplace, Dr. Mabe, so yesterday spoke about how, marketing has a budget. In the academic space, I mean, our department is the smallest in our school, and that's because of what's happening in industry. The KM departments are seen as smaller, and therefore the investment inside the academia is also that. But good news is, for the past 3 years, when I've been asking students, we were their first choice. Generally, people get into the space accidentally. We've heard that now from 2 different speakers. But fortunately now, students are actually choosing IKM as their first preference. But again, to sell the argument from an organizational standpoint, we need to now show organizations that we also can make you money. It's not just about saving you money, but it's also about making you money. So if we bring in the whole analysis of the competitors, we are then able to say, this is what these people are doing. Therefore, we can counter their moves in this way. So we can make money. That way, we then can get budget allocated to us that we deserve. Okay, just to get into the methodology, how we then got the results of the study. So this was a bibliometric analysis, so 2-phase methodology. So we use the bibliometric analysis first just to map the research tendencies that happen in the CI space. And then you can see the data collection, we use the Scopus database. So Scopus is basically the search engine of other journals. So what happens is at one point of it, there was a question on, Prof. Mearns was presenting on electronic content enterprise content management systems. And if we think about it from a decision-making standpoint, a CEO or one of the executives don't have time to go into individual systems. What they need is a system that can house all the data so that they can just see the whole organization from one database. Makes sense? So with big data, we will then use things like cloud computing to house this data because it needs to be able to grow in size. So similar concept. And then, so Scopus does the same thing. It basically accesses all these databases so that we don't have to go visit every publisher's website. Okay? And then the search string we use there, sorry, you can't see the whole thing, but it's just simply competitive intelligence using the Boolean logic, the truncation function. So the inverted commas meaning every document that shows up must have the words competitive and intelligence next to each other. So it increases the relevance. So it's just a search strategy that increases the relevance of the results that show up. And then in terms of data analysis, so I'm just explaining the first phase and then I'll get into the second phase. I know I'm speaking a bit too fast, but again, time is not on our side. Data analysis. So for the bibliometric phase, we use bibliometric maps, which are simply visualizations. I'll show an example in the next slide. Visualizations of these trends. So common co-authorships to see whether people are collaborating in that space. Keyword co-occurrence to see what are the common keywords that are used in these articles to inform the research agenda of that field. And then in the second phase, we did a content analysis. So again, the topic is looking into the future of competitive intelligence. So what we did is, so from data collection, we had 822 articles. And the earliest one dated in 1950, 80 something, 84, somewhere there, right? But now if I'm looking into the future, I cannot analyze a document from 1984. So what we did is in the second phase, we sampled articles from 2022 to 2024, the last 3 years. We were looking at the last 3 years because we did the study last year. And then from there, we had about 59 articles. And then the eligibility of them, we had to take out articles that didn't have like research strategies, research aims, or research focus, so that because we needed to get the research focus, we need to know the industries where this research is done, so that we can identify opportunities. So I'm very pragmatic in nature, and when we think about if you're going to complain, at least complain and provide a solution. So this is just one solution. It's not the end all be all, but it's one easy way because we have the KM principles to support us to move into this space. So even when you have a question or a comment, have a solution. Right. So this is an example of a bibliometric map. So you see the keyword key occurrence. Hopefully you can see, but you see, obviously the most commonly used was competitive intelligence for obvious reasons. The search literally was competitive intelligence. So the articles, so how this happens is we use Vox Viewer to create this. So what happens is, when you write an article at the after the abstract, you have your keywords. So this tool then analyzes how many times a keyword was used. Okay, so competitive intelligence for obvious reasons was the most used, but you see there, the second most used, so we also did like link strengths and whatnot, which in the article it explains the higher the number, the tighter the link. But you can also see it, knowledge management is actually the second most used keyword in competitive intelligence article. So that also shows us that this close linkage between the two concepts. And even so, there's knowledge sharing, which was separate. So that knowledge management link is actually bigger than what it looks like here. Because knowledge sharing is on its own there. And then key concepts now come in. You see social media, data mining, text mining. So these speak to skills we need to develop if we want to get into this space. But again, this is an ongoing conversation. It doesn't end today. We will get to those as we go. Again, I'm happy to assist. And then what we also found, again, from a bibliometrics analysis, is that the key industries where people do research on CI, leading with 13, you can't see that, but it's 13 results. Technology and then academia came second. Again, when I see why, the question becomes why isn't it performed more in like the agriculture, telecoms, energy, and pretty much nothing on the public sector. It's a challenge, but that means it's also an opportunity. In business, if you want to make money, any challenge is an opportunity. That's how we need to reframe how we see things. So therefore, there's an opportunity for us to tackle CI research from a public sector standpoint. Okay, so easy wins. We don't want to start with difficult things. We want easy wins so that we can get the ball rolling. I mentioned yesterday, we don't have to be perfect to begin, but we just have to start, and then we'll see where we end up. And then furthermore, because I understand I'm speaking to KM practitioners, the paper also provides a list of preferred journals where you can find a lot of work on CIs. What I love about social media managers, most of them who I spoke to were self-taught. And we know that social media management in companies now is a huge deal. And most of them were literally self-taught. We spoke about one of the skills being a willingness to learn. Curiosity was also mentioned again today. So we need to step it up. At least this paper leads you in the right direction by identifying leading authors, leading institutions, leading countries, so you know exactly where to go to get resources on CI. And we did have 3 authors from South Africa. I think South Africa was number 4 on the list. USA, China, Brazil, and then South Africa in terms of publications on CI, meaning we are doing well compared to the globe, but we need to do more and bring in that KM perspective. 3 authors from South Africa as well were found to be amongst the leading authors. So we do have, again, localized knowledge on the subject. If we ever want to run workshops, at least we know who we can tap into. And then in terms of research focus, so the aim here was to see, what the research focus is, just to put it straightforward. And a lot of the times you see there that CI tools were being focused on. Pretty much, so what that tells us is that the CI group is big in improving the models they are using. particularly by adding AI and machine learning to their tools. Again, these are skills that can benefit the KM function. So again, yeah. So and maturity. So tying to the CI tools, maturity could be linked to that, but again, I didn't want to make too many interpretations to say every CI tool was about maturity, because sometimes we implement tools just to improve what we are doing right now. It doesn't mean we've moved up the maturity ladder. Okay. So that's why I kept them separate. And then you see the business / market performance. Again, how are we faring against our competitors? That's where the money is. Organizations understand that. CI processes and skills as well. And then a small part on decision making, but I believe that was because it's implied, even though it's not explicitly stated. All these articles basically imply that because the purpose of KM and CI is to impact decision making. But I'm just reporting what was explicitly stated here. Okay, just to move to the future research agenda, the synthesis will be covered by when we do the review of the day at the end. So I'll just speak on the future research agenda. One key one that would be an easy one to tackle is it was found that, in the CI space, we spoke about organizational culture. They are struggling to get people to get into that data culture. So what that says to me is, because as we as KM practitioners are well versed in developing organizational cultures, we just need to get into the data space so we can then push a data culture into the organization. But two examples that I've spoken to two people, one from data governance, another from CI. Both from CI actually. One works for a food and beverage company. So what they've done is, again, when I speak about people getting budgets, what they've done is they've developed an app for CI purposes, so that when everyone in the organization, now we're creating a culture, everyone in the organization, when they get to a store and they realize that their products are not in that store, they report it on the app. So collecting that, so again, and then there's an incentive. Obviously, if your insight leads to profits, you get a share of those profits. So that's some proper stuff. Another one said even the cleaning ladies, or cleaning people, cleaning people are involved. Yeah, gotta be careful these days, like, the cleaning people are involved. So, for example, when someone gets stopped off by an Uber, as an example, what the person who saw them being dropped off, they then share that insight, or let's say they're holding coffee as well, they then get the insight to say, after speaking to this person, offer them a ride back. Now you've created a relationship there from a position of knowledge. So small things, but now that's part of the culture. And yeah, so those are small things that we can look into. This would be for those who want to do their PhDs, I would say this has some research gaps for you to explore, just for future references as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Kagiso. And this is very interesting. I think this is a topic to be explored for us as KM practitioners. Colleagues, can I, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, in the interest of time, can we just take one question?
Good morning. Thank you, Kagiso. Kagiso, I just want to ask my question as pragmatic as I possibly can. This is now from the point of view of my branch, right?
Yeah.
Our data has grown to be very much big. It's getting out of hands. We are trying as much as we possibly can to process it. I want to ask, Len, is there a solution yet in the AI, because we've been searching and searching, that can assist with doing the quality assessment of the data? Good enough, we do the analysis, we do this and so on and so on. But the problem that we are so stuck in, which we are doing manually, is the quality assessment into the data, trying to plug in taxonomies and all of those things like that?
Okay, no, good question. So there are tools. I've already alluded to AI, but what happens is, with data science and data engineering. So these are skills again that I've been saying we need to develop. So data engineers would be the people who clean the data, but because it's big, we need to develop models, and we inform these models what to look out for. So doing it manually is going to be impossible. So you need to be able to develop models that will be able to, and then you inform these models in terms of what to look out for, and from there the system will do it for you. Yeah, we can't do it manually. So, but
Thank you so much. You wanted to have your jacket on. It's hot here.
Yeah, it's actually warm. Yeah, it's hot. Kalani thinks there's a stage.
Thank you so much, Kagiso. As you walk down, please accept a token of appreciation from KMSA.